My parents demanded I support my brother's recovery, so I supported him all the way to rock bottom. I came home from my daughter's dance recital to find my bedroom safe hanging open. Grandma's entire jewelry collection, her wedding pearls, Grandpa's war ring, everything worth about $18,000 was gone. I sighed and pinched the bridge of my nose. You see, earlier that morning, my brother Trent had been at the house for Sunday breakfast, and Trent can best be described as a 30-year-old man baby. No job, spent all day convincing my parents to send him more money, total loser. So now, standing in my bedroom, staring at the empty safe, I knew exactly who was behind it. When I confronted Trent at his apartment an hour later, he was playing Fortnite, wearing Grandpa's ring like it was some kind of trophy. Insurance will cover it, he laughed when I demanded everything back. Besides, what's some old jewelry compared to your baby brother's life? I tried explaining that Grandma had specifically wanted the pearls passed down to the oldest granddaughter, but he just shrugged and said I could buy new ones with all my fancy nursing money. The smell of drugs in his apartment made me dizzy, so I left and drove to my parents' house. But as soon as the front door swung open, my dad punched a hole in the drywall. Trent already told us what happened. How dare you go to his apartment and threaten him during recovery? My mother was worse, called me heartless for kicking Trent while he was down. They demanded I apologize. That's when it hit me. The best revenge is gift wrapped with a smile. So I left and got to work. I spent the next 2 weeks visiting every pawn shop in a 50-mile radius. Some of my grandma's pieces were already sold, but I tracked down the buyers through social media, knocked on doors, offered triple what they'd paid. I spent $18,000 of my retirement fund on getting everything back because my plan was going to be worth every penny. Our annual family dinner was 2 weeks later. Aunts, uncles, cousins, all 30-something relatives packed into my parents' house. I waited until everyone was seated before tapping my fork against the champagne glass. Trent, I announced, making sure every relative could hear, since you accidentally stole all of our grandma's jewelry out of my safe and pawned them off, I decided to get them all back, just for you. Here's everything, professionally cleaned and restored. The silence was deafening. Trent's face went from white to deep red, but he couldn't explode. Not with Aunt Linda asking in her sharp voice why I had to recover family heirlooms from pawn shops. Not with Uncle Rob muttering about addiction and theft. Life was sweet. But on the way home, I realized something. I probably shouldn't let my pettiness get in the way of being a good sister. So the next morning, led by guilt, I drove him to the best rehab facility in the state and dropped $30,000 for a 90-day program, the kind with equine therapy and private rooms and actual medical supervision. And I visited every single Sunday, driving 3 hours each way. Unfortunately, the counselors couldn't stop praising me because the more praise I got, the more Trent hated me. But still, I thought that rehab would help him. And when he got out after 90 days, he was different, but not in the good way. He'd drive by my house at odd hours. I'd catch glimpses of his car. He somehow knew my schedule, when I'd be at work, when I picked up my daughter. But I wasn't worried because he had never hurt my daughter before, and I didn't think he ever would. Fast forward 3 weeks later, when it was finally time for Emma's school spring musical, I was helping her undo her seatbelt when suddenly the world exploded in spotlights and sirens. 20 officers surrounded our car with their guns drawn. Hands where we can see them! Step away from the vehicle! Emma started screaming. They forced me to the ground on the asphalt while my 6-year-old watched me, her mother that she thought could move the